All Afghans are against Taliban. Let me say it again. Let me scream it again. All Afghans are against the Taliban. And our president, how do you say it? Turned tail and ran and gave us no notice. We were kept in the dark, and it's very sad, terribly sad. Perhaps the saddest day of my life. One day, all finished in one day, country dead and gone. I was fortunate in being able to get out with my wife and kids and parents, but many of my family did not. Uncles, aunts, and some siblings remained, and now they have no chance to leave at all. There are no passports, no planes, no flights, and the borders are all closed. No work, no money, no jobs. Afghanistan is totally collapsed economically. One day, August 15, 2021, the gloomiest summer day in August ever. No matter what the weather was, the clouds hanging over us were much political and metaphorical as literal. And then they burst open and the storm began. It's not just my relatives who could not get out. The whole population. If the international community does not pay attention to what's really going on and think how to work with the new government, Afghans are going to start dying of hunger. Meanwhile, the Taliban has been having their people coming down from the mountains. They have occupied in cities and the houses and are killing people, doing armed robberies, going door to kill those who follow their wrong sect of Islam. And so they're ruling by violence and force. That's all they know. All they know. All we know of them. A lot of people like me working with knowledge of government could help, but I don't know how to get involved. There should be a transparent mechanism for this, but I don't know how. There is no transparency. I think paying attention to evacuating more people is a good intention, but the mechanism of how they are doing it is important. How they are recognizing and selecting people. How should someone reach this group? Millions of people have sent emails, but the actual journalists, the writers, contacts of the US government, all of the people who are eligible to leave, how could they get out, be selected to do this? Yes, it is unclear how to help someone. My country should not be suffering like this. I see that my country has gone centuries backwards and there is no place for minorities like me to live in Afghanistan. Minority groups in terms of ethnicity and religion, and also the educated elite who are hated by the Taliban, have no space to work amidst the fundamentalists and terrorists. But I have a dream for my family and my career. It is to accept the United States as our second home, where I will work hard, just as I did in Afghanistan years ago, and study and work hard and better myself and my country and my people. Make Afghanistan a safe place for the minority and the majority, and scrub it clean of fundamentalism and terrorism and any other kind of hatred. I have no identity. I left everything that was behind in Afghanistan. Here I am, just a refugee and his family, sitting in a camp in a place called Wisconsin, which I understand is famous for its cheese and its beer. But at least it's a nice camp where we have free food, free accommodations, free clothes, and it's okay. It's going to be okay. That's what I have to keep telling myself. I'm here. I'm alive. I survived. It will all be okay. Sunday, August 15, 2021 was the day my whole world died. No, was murdered, assassinated. I was lucky enough to escape with my mind and body and not much else. And the US is taking care of me, of us, of course, until we get out of the camp. I think all of us in here should find jobs. If anyone is listening, can introduce me to journalists and or your personal contacts. It would help me to get my voice heard further about the survival of my news agency. I was a failure only because of our president betrayed us and the Taliban blindsided us. But still, I'm in a better place now. Wisconsin is very pretty this time of year. The leaves are turning. We don't have a lot of leaves in Kabul, except in the mountains, but most importantly, in Wisconsin, I don't have to worry about the late night knock on the door, followed by a gun muzzle in the face, some harsh ethnic insult, and then a dull thud of nothing because the Taliban bullet arrives before you hear the bang and then you're dead. After all, 6 months before my country went to hell, I was just driving down the road with my kids when an IED, that's an improvised explosive device, went off next to us. Fortunately, I was prepared then. And while my van did get knocked off the road, none of us were injured. 6 months later, August 15, 2021, no one was prepared. Please do send your list of journalists and contacts. The war in Afghanistan is far from over. The beginning was not the end. It was the beginning of something far more dangerous. Oh, and since I'm in America now, I'm trying to fit in. When you're sending me those lists of journalists and contacts of who can literally save my news agency and my family lives, can you also explain how American baseball works? Because I get the impression that it's like a kind of a state religion here. Although it also looks kind of fun.
Three I have left behind. 3, too many. And now my 4 boys over there. I see them. I see them. Let me stay and wait, please. No, please. I'm a mother. I can't live without my children. Wait. No, wait, please. What did they say? My group over there. With my boys, my group leader, he yelled for me. Chi, Bachai Peshitas. They say they have my boys and I must go. I must, but I don't want to do it. Without help and cross, please. Please wait. All right. Bachim, they're making me go and they're making me go get in the car. But But I will wait, ma. Amincha muntazir mimona. I will not. I will not go without you. I will wait here for you. Be brave. Excuse me. It's so dark now. It's been hours. And I know. No, I don't want the tickets to Paris yet. Yes, I do. I do want them with my sons. Yes, I do want the tickets, but I am waiting for them. Have you seen them? Translator, please ask. These are them. This is my 15-year-old. Can you see? My 15-year-old. Do they look familiar to you? There will be four of them. I'm so worried about my younger one. He gets stomach aches. And him in that terrible water. Maybe that slowed him down if he got sick. What if that happened? What would he do? Would they take him to the doctor? Where's the doctor? Oh, you don't know? You just do the tickets, right? Yes, I understand. But I can go. Do you think they stood in that water long before they got helped out yet? You don't know that either? Oh, I shouldn't have left them behind. I shouldn't have left any of them. These choices. You keep forcing me to make these terrible choices. Wait. It's them. My sons. Hello? Bale? Motar? They won the car. But no, I cannot send the car. I don't have control over cars. I have no money to send. Where are you? Could you ask them? Oh, why aren't you closed? I have been watching the door all night for you. What did you say? They say, wait, mother, wait. They say they haven't crossed yet. They haven't left. Oh, why haven't they? Do you know? Only actresses may go now? Oh, what is this? No, but no, yes, I know all artists must leave, of course. I know women artists, yes. Who would know better than me how dangerous it is to be a woman actress in that country with Taliban? But my kids are my life. Miss you. Tell him. Tell the French police, please. They will bring my children right now, or I will not go. All right. Stop. All right. I'll go. Not on the plane. My home. To hide with my sons. I'll go home. Oh, don't try to scare me. I know the Taliban will beat me or even kill me if they catch me. You cannot inflict me with one more drop of fear than I already have. You offer me death and my children, or life without them? What would you do? I will go home to my sick husband, to my hungry kids, to cover myself with a hijab and lie to strangers who I am, because they know my face now. I have come out into the freedom and shown my proud face. An artist. I made money for everything, and then live in fear for everything. I'll make my, oh God, they'll make my sons fight against the resistance, you know. I have no money anymore. No food. How can they not take us all? I'm going. God help us all.
On the second day of October, when I looked at myself, I saw my appearance had changed. I would not be recognizable soon. This was my chance to leave. So I went to Paktia province on the border near Pakistan. There, I met people who said they could take me to Pakistan. I don't know. I went with them. I don't know where. I went to a house and spent the night. I had never experienced a cold room without a mattress. The air was extreme. I had to take down the curtain, wrap it about my head. Otherwise, I would not sleep. The next day, they divided us into two groups. For 2 days, we walked, looking for ways to cross the border. We were so tired. The smugglers threatened to shoot at us if we made a mistake. Then they said, from now on, you go yourself, cross the border, and another person will pick you up. We argued with them. The issue became serious. They were supposed to go with us into Pakistan. The controversy escalated. It was evening when the Taliban suddenly came, arresting all of us, including the smugglers. They tortured us, they beat us, and they took us somewhere, I don't know. The fourth night, I was waiting for a bullet to fire into my face at any moment. My friends were crying, some were silent. I was not worried about myself. I was worried about what would happen to my art and artistic aspirations. But that night, I was not an actor or a filmmaker or a writer. I'd forgotten everything. That horrible night passed. On the fifth morning, the Taliban came. They laughed at us, telling us we'd been deceived by our smugglers. But then they took us to the Pathan border gate in Paktia province and officially released us. We went to the border to register, but they said that only 10 people are allowed to leave in one day, and the number of registered people has reached 1,700. 1,700. Depressed and tired, we agreed again that the smugglers would take us for 20,000 rupees per person and provide us with a gate pass so that we could travel legally. We waited for 4 days. Waiting is worse than death. A terrible expectation that restrains the human soul and stifles the cry within man. I consider this expectation to be the lowest sense. Every minute imposes 60 years of a human life in prison. We waited every moment for them to come and tell us we could go. It was the 8th night, 7 o'clock on October 6th. They told us to come to go to the prepared gateway. I was traveling in a car when I saw more than 50 Taliban surrounding us with very dangerous weapons. They shouted at everyone, "Do not move or we will shoot." I had a travel bag with me, which was my clothes, 3 volumes of my books, and my phone. I took videos and photos every moment with my phone's HD camera. Now I just slowly hid my phone in the car and stood quietly. They arrested us all, along with the drivers of our vehicles. Of course, the smugglers disappeared from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. We were in the custody of the Taliban in Paktia province. When they asked, I said, I do not have a phone. They asked, why do you not have a phone? I said, I sold my phone. If my phone fell into their hands, they would recognize me because my Facebook was active and I was in contact with foreigners through WhatsApp. We stayed with them for 3 days. Then we were released, but only because of an accident. The accident was a friend of mine knew their language and told them that we were deceived by our smugglers. At the same time, a call came into the Taliban commander that someone had been killed. His people looked at my friend, the others left. I did not go. I couldn't leave this friend of mine, not alone. We both stayed with the Taliban for an hour. What is our sin? She should. Then they released us. And we returned home. Yes. I came home. And now I am in hiding. I do not know how to leave the country. I do not know how to take a deep breath. My dream for the future is that I should continue my art and work in theater and cinema. I cannot choose anything other than art. Work in art is my love. It is connected to my soul. The Taliban have said that artists should choose another profession. I struggle to prove that art is not just a profession, but a human mission and an essential need, a need of human society.
We spent 72 hours discussing the Taliban, dealing with them, talking with them, and trying to persuade them to let us inside the airport. We tried lots of options. We even had to do little hand-to-hand to help us to get inside the airport. In exchange, he wanted us to help him and some of his friends be on our list so they could leave Kabul as well. So we accepted the deal that we are going to put you on the list, but you have to help us in crossing checkpoints and reaching the American checkpoint where we could be inside Kabul airport. The American soldiers are shouting and even trying to beat people. I was very surprised by seeing the Americans do such things. I thought we were escaping Taliban. But inside Kabul airport, I saw like American Taliban, American soldiers who were abusing the same, like Taliban, shouting at the people. Personally, I was a writer and a filmmaker. I had to carry my laptop and notebook with me, and they were not allowing it. They said, we can just go with one clothes. For me, my laptop and hard drives were the important things. On them, I had all my work and activities for about 15 years. So they were going around with guns, breaking laptops, and they were fighting and they were beating. And finally, I took my broken laptop with me. If I must fight with them, I don't care. I took my laptop, I take it with me, but the odds are, even if it is broken, the hard drive still works. So from 5 hard drives, I could only take one of them. And it was like I was a thief, how I took it inside. Not like a person who has rights. And this was a very disappointing issue for me. Seeing Americans doing the same as the Taliban. If Taliban wasn't already assaulting us, calling us slaves of Americans, now we have to be assaulted by Americans who talk like, I'm going to USA. They say, you must be human, you bastards. Do not be shit. Do not be donkeys. Now the Americans were saying this to us. We have to be human. And all these things they were saying with bad words, with loud sounds and shouting and bad behavior. Finally, at 7 a.m., we were huddled inside the American military airplane. There were 5 airplanes in the airport, and I think we were the last people. Yes. It was the 28th of August. We got to the airplane, and in the airplane, it was like we were sheep. We were all in the airplane like sheep, with no facilities, no toilet. In my life, I've had the experience of visiting the USA in 2010, 2011, and 2017, and I've never seen such a thing. Travel in an airplane from one country to another country, like cows, like sheep, like animals. Refugee. It is my new name.
The patriarchy doesn't die easily, if ever. It may be pushed back, but it hides and waits like a bacteria until you let down your guard or you are vulnerable in any way. Then it rises against you again with ferocity. My child, my infant daughter, of course, a girl in this place, of course, as if to give me that last incentive not to give up and survive this hell however I can. For her, would I have anything left if not for her? This is not a gunshot wound, not yet. It's from her birth, which was difficult because I have been shot before. I have that scar here on my shoulder, where the Taliban shot me in 2020. I almost died then. I have no delusion as to what they are capable of. They killed my unborn child with that shot. And I nearly did not come back. Physically, mentally. But that is what they wanted, for me to quit my job, to stop building schools and universities for both boys and girls. They wanted me, this woman, to stop sending forces to fight them. How dare I fight back? So they will come for me. They have not forgotten that woman who fought back, the woman who liberated cities from the Taliban. They will come as soon as they can. They will burst violently through that door. They stopped once, but we still had help from the outside world and hope. So I recovered, willed myself to do it. And dare to have another child too. I still believed, and I swore they wouldn't stop us. Every one of us who fought them so hard for all of us. I couldn't give them that victory over me. My whole life, I've been their prey. I'm a woman, for one, and a leader, which is not acceptable to them. I'm a Hazara as well. Hazaras and Shias have been victims of the Taliban genocide before. They have not forgotten that hit for us, especially since we fought IS, IL, and Al Qaeda in 2001. You cry then. It's your right. Cry for your grandfather too. So, but I don't have to do it anymore. My father. He will never meet her. Jalalabad, which is like a city of dead now. The streets are empty. I for the local government there. To the city. Arrested him. And they killed him. We could grieve. We fled in tears. That's all we could do. To have left my house behind, which They turned into headquarters for them to touch my things and walk my walls. It was difficult. But to leave my father's body behind in their possession, it is such despair. Ah, lalo, lalo, lalo. When she was born, it had to be surgery because of my previous injuries. I suppose I should be grateful the Taliban waited as long as they did, long enough that I could still have her delivered by a doctor. And the patriarchy doesn't die easily, if ever. It may be pushed back, but it hides and waits like a bacteria until you let down your guard or you are vulnerable in any way. Then it rises against you again with ferocity. My child, my infant daughter, of course, a girl in this place, of course, as if to give me that last incentive not to give up and survive this hell however I can. For her, would I have anything left if not for her? This is not a gunshot wound, not yet. It's from her birth, which was difficult because I have been shot before. I have that scar here on my shoulder, where the Taliban shot me in 2020. I almost died then. I have no delusion as to what they are capable of. They killed my unborn child with that shot, and I nearly did not come back. Physically, mentally. But that is what they wanted, for me to quit my job, to stop building schools and universities for both boys and girls. They wanted me, this woman, to stop sending forces to fight them. How dare I fight back? So they will come for me. They have not forgotten that woman who fought back, the woman who liberated cities from the Taliban. They will come as soon as they can. They will burst violently through that door. They stopped once, but we still had help from the outside world and hope. So I recovered, willed myself to do it. And dare to have another child too. I still believed, and I swore they wouldn't stop us. Every one of us who fought them so hard for all of us. I couldn't give them that victory over me. My whole life, I've been their prey. I'm a woman, for one, and a leader, which is not acceptable to them. I'm a Hazara as well. Hazaras and Shias have been victims of the Taliban genocide before. They have not forgotten that hit for us, especially since we fought IS, IL, and Al Qaeda in 2001. You cry then. It's your right. Cry for your grandfather too. So, but I don't have to do it anymore. My father. He will never meet her. We are in hiding. But the newborn, no medicine. I tend to myself and the baby. The fear is constant, almost always lost. I will tell you this, then at my own risk. I chose the name Yusra because it means the opposite of hardship. It means comfort and blessedness. Yeah, and I need that right now. But that's not my real name. I was a governor. And that's why they will hunt me. Me, a woman in Afghanistan. I built universities. Maybe you will know my name. Maybe I will tell it to you someday. Alive and safe. With my daughter. With my family. I will tell you then the things we have accomplished before this nightmare wiped all of us, all of it away again. We had women in power here. We something. I was strong for my people. I did not let even one trench fall in my father. He was proud. دخترم عاطفه بود و بهار بود